Hello, my name is Pastor Wale Adepoju, and I'm the senior pastor at Prince Emmanuel All Nations Seventh-day Adventist Church. Revelation 12:11 says, "And they overcame him," being Satan, "by the blood of the Lamb and by the word of their testimony." Our members here today want to share with you their testimonies because we know how important it is not to only overcome by the grace of God, but also by the words of fellow believers like you. So take a look at our testimonies, and we hope that it encourages you to make it through your storms. And so I want to share one of my stories with you today. Actually, this is a story that I hope it connects with a lot of people. There was a time, and there are times in my life, even still today, where I just don't feel like people understand. As I was growing up a lot, I was American child, or a Nigerian child, I should say, being brought up in America. And so a lot of times there's a friction that happens between the two cultures. And so as we were trying to explain, or as I was trying to explain things from an American standpoint, a lot of times I felt that my Nigerian parents were not able to understand. I also had problems with connecting with, my brothers and sisters, because my brother, who, everybody wants the big older brother, he was 9 years older than me, so there was an age gap there. And then my sisters, I didn't really have a close personal relationship with either. So a lot of times I found myself trying to figure things out on my own. So what I would do as a young child is I would just watch people, and I would see how things happen, and I would try to, move and maneuver accordingly. And so, as I was growing up and I was growing into those formative teenage years, I really didn't have somebody there that I felt that I could open up to. Now, as I went through life, I realized that a lot of the problems with opening up actually came from within me and not outside, but I just felt at that moment alone. And so as I was feeling alone, I was learning how to do things from other people, and so people my age. And so as I went to TA, or as I went to high school, I started to learn how to do bad things, so when you're feeling bad or when you're feeling down, here, take a smoke of this blunt, or take a whiff or smoke of this Black or Mild, or take a drink of this cup. And so that's how I started to learn how to deal with some of the emotional stress, was because I didn't know how to talk things through. I didn't know how to be able to just tell somebody and get advice from people that I felt that could actually hear and understand the things that I was going through. And so as I matriculated through life, I constantly found myself at times being alone. I was unable to form close relationships. I wasn't able to really feel understood by those around me. And so I felt all alone. And so one day, after, God had touched my heart to change my life, I remember I was supposed to go to a party one night, and I didn't want to go because God just wouldn't allow me to live that life anymore. I remember my friend called me, and there was so much fun in the background, music and laughter, and I was just, really there trying to stop and trying to do what I needed to do. And God just basically said, just don't go, be still. And so I remember hanging up with my friend, telling him I wasn't going to go. He was shocked. He was like, "You're not coming?" I was like, "No, I'm just going to stay at home today." He was like, "Okay." And so he hung up the phone, and I sat there in my room on my back looking at the ceiling for 2.5 hours, just really thinking about the decision. And I felt all alone in that moment. But the good thing I want to tell somebody today is that God, even though you feel like He's not there, even though you feel like you might be alone, He is still there. And as I moved throughout my life, I started to realize that I had a God that could actually talk to me. I had a God that would actually cared about the different things that I had. I had a God that really understood me when I felt like no one else could. But on top of that, one of the things when you're going through this emotional isolation is to ask God to bring people to you that can actually connect with you, and you can actually share and share your thoughts and your heart with them. And so as a matter of fact, recently I was looking for an accountability partner. And another time where I was like, who can I call? I need somebody to help me to be accountable to. And lo and behold, as I was praying that prayer, God actually had someone call me and say, man, I need an accountability partner. I need somebody that I can share these things with. And so God will provide even for your emotional needs if you just allow him to. Because a lot of times, a lot of us go through life and we feel like we're misunderstood, or we feel like people don't understand us, or they just can't help us. And what God is trying to do is break down that myth and let us know that there are people there that can help you even with your emotional needs. And so that's my testimony today. And I just hope this encourages somebody. I hope we can be more transparent that, you know, as we go through things, as we struggle things, even now as a pastor, I still struggle with things, that we can encourage and help each other up, because we know that we will overcome the enemy by the blood of the Lamb and by the word of the testimonies of our church. So we thank you, and we just hope that more of you feel free to share your testimony with us. God bless.